How's it guys, and welcome back to another episode of Game on Garage. Today we have our fabrication shirt on as we are going to be doing some fabrication. I've got our stencils, paper, some cardboard, and I bought some sheet metal. It was 40 bucks for this one sheet. I bought two of them as I will be doing a cold air box as well. But today we're making our gauge mount panel. So we're going from this to this. So the plan is to mount a steel plate in here so that the two gauges can be set up wherever you like, and we can also add some auxiliary switches or something of that in the future. We're going to mount, I believe this was the radio surround, we're going to end up mounting that around just to give it a nice clean finish. So I used that surround and a piece of paper to make a stencil. So this piece of paper fits into our mount. That's going to be traced to become the sheet metal. Once this piece of paper was the right size, I traced that onto a piece of cardboard, but leaving some space on the sides, as you can see here, so that we can make some ears, something like that, that we can mount them onto our holes, which sit inside of the panel. With your final stencil the correct size, and you made sure it fits, and you made sure it fits again, get yourself your right angle and then trace your stencil onto the steel. Aluminium would probably also work. This is all they had, so I bought this. It's 0.8 millimeter in thickness. I think they had 0.6 as well, but that was maybe a bit flimsy, a bit thin for the airbox that I'm going to use this as well. Anything thicker than this is just extra weight, which is unnecessary. With the stencil traced out, get yourself some ear and eye protection, as you only have one set of those. Grab the angle grinder with a thin cut-off disc and get cutting. Alright, so it's not perfect, but for my first try, I think this will definitely do. So I went ahead and test fitted it into the car itself, and I decided where I would like the gauges to be, the centerpieces of the gauges, and then where the holes are going to be for the screws to get it into the car. So get yourself your center punch and a hammer. And then punch the holes to drill them. Start off with pilot holes, and then we can use our hole saw to drill the holes for the gauges themselves. With all the pilot holes done, get the hole saw onto the drill and drill the holes. With the holes for the gauges cut out, get yourself a file and just file down the edges where we cut the metal and make sure it's nice and smooth. Then get yourself a piece of sandpaper and then just lightly sand the face of it to get it ready for paint. You can also use some steel wool or Scotch-Brite. With the metal all scuffed up and cleaned from any dirt or oil, it's time to get painted. Go with light coats and add as many as necessary. Careful not to add too much paint at a time, otherwise you're going to get some runs. Remember to keep the can about 30 centimeters away from the metal. Let it dry between coats and then we go again. After around 4 or 5 coats, you'll see that it's nice and thick and even. I decided to cut up this vacuum hose right down the middle, and then I can run it around the edges to give it some more grip against the sides. Let's get it in the car. Unfortunately, we had to remove the wiring as I want to run each wires for each gauge through its own hole. So remove the wires, we'll redo that just now. You can check it out on episode 1 of the series, how to do the wiring. Then remove the bracket, run the wires through, and mount the gauge, ensuring that it's the right way up, and centered. Then add the silver bracket and the mounting bolts. Now, since we used the perfect size hacksaw, this isn't really necessary, but rather safe than sorry. Tighten them up and then redo your wires. Looking good. Alright, so it was quite a mission to get the screws in. There's one up here and then one over here. It's a bit flimsy here at the bottom, but luckily we're only going to press buttons here and only, you know, once in a while when we want to adjust something or set it up. Then this frame completes it fairly nicely. It's a bit sunken in, which I'm not a massive fan of. I'm still thinking of ways which we can get it closer to the surface. This might only be temporary, but it's definitely good enough for now. Alright guys, so there we have it. We have made our custom gauge panel. I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah, it can maybe do with some improvement, but we'll get to that in the future. In the meantime, remember that it's not game over, it's game on.